Kawhi Leonard, this is awful. Out indefinitely now as he continues to recover from quad injury that has sidelined him basically all season. He's missed 27 games so far. Coach Pop said that the injury hasn't responded the way we wanted it to.
Chene, there is no time frame. Kawhi Leonard is going to miss his 8th straight game tonight when they face the Cavaliers. And Ty Lue was asked, is he day-to-day now or is he week-to-week? And he said right now there is no time frame.
Kawhi Leonard's career is becoming one of the strangest I've seen by far. It's crazy that when fans name their top 5 players in the league right now, you never really hear Kawhi Leonard's name, even though his talent demands top 5 placement if you ask me. And that's because this man quite literally never plays consistent basketball. It's gotten to the point where it almost feels like basketball is like a side hustle for Kawhi and he has like a full-time gig somewhere else. The Clippers this season has played a total of 2,640 minutes total. Kawhi Leonard has been a part of 42 of them. Kawhi's coming off a torn ACL that he suffered in that second round against Utah in 2021. He missed the entire last season, and in his absence, the Clippers made great move after great move, in my opinion, to lessen his load when he returns. They brought in Robert Covington, who can be an excellent defender, taking away a lot of that responsibility from the stars. They brought in his old teammate Norman Powell, who improved significantly offensively and showed it a lot last year with the Clippers. They brought in John Wall on a great deal. Steve Ballmer is paying one of the highest luxury tax bills ever, only second to Golden State at $144 million. The Clippers have the highest payroll in the entire NBA, all in actuality for Kawhi. And nobody, I don't even think the Clippers, knows exactly what's going on with them right now. Paul George deserves so much credit, bro, so much credit, because he's quietly become one of the most selfless players probably in NBA history. He willingly declares himself as a number 2, though he's been there having to hold down the fort way more often than the so-called number 1.
Listen, Kawhi is the number 1, and I'm totally fine with that. I think I tried to, I guess, compliment him with being able to take the load off of him. Everybody say, Kawhi, you are 1A1, 1A, 1B. I'll publicly say, I'm the 2. Kawhi's the 1, I'm the 2. So that part we nipped in the bud. Like, there's no ego when it comes to that.
In the 2020 playoffs, where Paul George struggled at times, he most definitely did. He and Kawhi both played great in the 6 games leading up to them both having equally bad Game 7s versus Denver. Yet, Paul George got most of the memes and took most of the scrutiny because he hit the side of the backboard and had the playoff P name and all that. Then, in the following playoffs, Kawhi plays probably the best basketball I've seen him play in that 7-game series versus Dallas, but he did have Paul George's help. Once Kawhi tore his ACL against Utah, the injury that he's still recovering from to this day, Paul George was left playing that Batman role against the first-seeded Jazz, averaging 32.5 in those next 2 without Kawhi Leonard. And yes, Terrence Mann was huge in that Game 6 where they essentially took turns playing around with Rudy Gobert, but Paul George led them to their first Western Conference Finals without Kawhi Leonard. Then, even when they made their first Western Conference Finals appearance in their franchise's history, Kawhi's up there watching them in a suite. Now I know Kawhi gets away with a lot of stuff because he doesn't say much, but bro, imagine if any other player not named Kawhi did that, specifically KD or LeBron. That would have been a much bigger deal, I promise you. Then last season, Kawhi was gone recovering with his knee injury, and this is why I respect the hell out of Paul George, and I've gained so much love for him over the past few seasons. He was hurt last year too. He had a pretty serious elbow injury that forced him to miss like 3 months. And when he came back, the Clippers were in 8th place fighting for their playoff lives. Even though they had talent, even though they were making those incredible comebacks, even though Ty Lue was coaching them very well, when he came back, they were teetering. The Clippers had just lost 5 straight games and 8 out of their last 10. If he was a selfish player, mind you, Paul George has had very serious injuries, most notably that broken leg. He could have said, I'm not putting my injury at risk for a team that's not even really a championship contender. What's the point? But he didn't do that at all. He came back, played pretty well for somebody that just missed 3 months, and helped them win 6 out of their next 7 to end the season in that 8th spot. Then in the play-in tournament, yeah, they lost to Minnesota, But Paul George scored 34, and they just lost to a very talented team. And in the next round against New Orleans, he caught COVID, so it just clearly wasn't their year. But Paul George showed up. Now, in this season, again, without Kawhi, he's still carrying them without the so-called Batman. And I love Kawhi Leonard. He's one of my favorite players when he's there, but he just doesn't play consistent basketball. The Clippers started out, and yeah, they won their first 2 and lost their next 4. But now they've won 4 out of their last 5 to get over 500. And look at what Paul George has been doing over that stretch. We all know Kawhi is one of the best basketball players in the world when healthy. But no one can deny that he's very high maintenance and he leaves big mystery clouds over every franchise he's on. In 2017, when he stepped on Zaza Pachulia's size 40 in that playoff game, I don't think no one thought that that would essentially be the last time he played Spurs basketball consistently, but it was. The following season was kind of like this one, and that's why I'm a little nervous. He was cleared to play from his quad, yet he didn't because he wasn't comfortable. His teammates was always getting questioned about it, and they kind of aired him out a little bit publicly, and it was just a big question mark looming around the Spurs about where is Kawhi?
Kawhi still feel like a part of the team or the group or anything, like the group text, or just try to make him feel like he's not just totally on the outside looking in?
Yeah, I mean, he's out there, he's with us, but you know, it's hard when you don't practice with the team. He's just a hard worker. He's just a focused individual on his game, on his weaknesses and strengths. So I assume it's gonna be a little harder for him, but hard to tell when you know he has his own introvert character.
Then in Toronto, they load managed him, learned from Pop, and didn't rush him, built a defensive shield to lessen his defensive role, and he won an NBA championship in that system. But of course, Toronto wasn't really exactly where he wanted to be, so he left. And now with the Clippers, he's played great while there. Nobody can ever deny that with Kawhi, but they've paid this man close to $150 million, and he's played less than half of the games. Now the injuries, they're not his fault. You can't blame Kawhi for not being durable, and he's a very likable dude, so it's hard to anyway. But for somebody that's supposed to be your franchise guy, Kawhi isn't built for that. Like, his body won't even allow him to. His talent will, but clearly his body won't. Out of every single player that's won multiple finals MVPs, Kawhi Leonard has the least amount of points, and that's because he barely plays. You know Kawhi should have way more points than that. He's one of the best scorers of this generation by far. Since 2016, when he really broke out, he's averaging 29 points in the playoffs, and out of everybody in that span that's averaged at least 25 points plus since 2016, he's the most efficient. He has the highest true shooting percentage, better than LeBron, better than Giannis, Steph, everybody. And he's played 70 games, so it's a big span. If that miserable 2020 meltdown against Denver taught us anything, you can't just throw a talented team together and expect them to gel and win a championship. It just doesn't work like that. When stuff hits the fan, y'all don't have that championship DNA or just that chemistry to push y'all through those tough moments. You know how last year for Golden State, when they fell down 2-1 against Boston and Draymond was looking kind of wild and doing podcasts and everybody was on his head. Klay Thompson was looking a little washed, not shooting the best. Steph was playing great, but he didn't have enough help. Even if they're past their prime, they have so much history to lean on to get them past those tough moments, and that's why they did. Boston last year, they didn't win an NBA championship, but that core of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Robert Williams, they've been together for some time, and that's why when they played Brooklyn, it was a clear example of a team with no chemistry versus a team with chemistry and history, and that's why one swept the other. It was clear as day. So for the Clippers, and specifically Kawhi, I think he needs to play at least 40 games, like at least 40 games. And if not, I think it's going to be another season waiting for the next season. And Kawhi is getting older, and so is Paul George. So how long can you really wait? Remember, you traded damn near all of your future picks for the next few seasons. Danilo Gallinari, SGA, who's averaging 30, for this duo to win a championship, and they haven't come close. If you guys like the video, follow my social media sites, turn on post notifications. Hopefully Kawhi Leonard can come back soon, because if he does, they're a very good team, especially if they can develop that rapport and that chemistry. But if not, it's just going to be a big disappointment. Follow my social media sites, do all that great stuff, guys, and until next time, as always, stay tuned.